Hello, I'm Elgato, and this is QnA Saturday, the weekly series I run on my channel where I answer your questions from the past week or so that have been left on my channel. These tend to be split between questions about me, my channel, and indeed the next Minecraft update, but given that right now we just had an update and there's not really much to say or talk about that next one, I figured why not answer mostly questions just about my life and stuff in general. So that's what I'm doing in this week's Q&A. If you want to leave a question for next one, you can leave it in the comments down below, or you can follow me at Elgato on Twitter. Once a week or so, I tweet out asking for questions, and then you can respond to that. So hopefully you'll enjoy this week's Q&A Saturday. You can like it if you do, because it helps out the channel and lets know you do like the Q&A, or at the very least that you like in the background. I'm going to be going to the end, killing the Ender Dragon. It's going to be a fun time. So yeah, with that said, let's just get straight into the first question already, shall we? Which comes in from Giovanni, who says, hashtag Q&A, do you plan on vlogging anytime soon? And I'm glad you asked this, Giovanni, because I think I sort of am. So I think a lot of people ask this question because they're like, oh yeah, so vlogging is a really big thing on YouTube right now. I think especially YouTube's really pushing this, like, you know, daily vlogging thing where it's like vlog every single day. And although, you know, that's something which I think a lot of people enjoy because, you know, YouTube's showing it to you, you're like, okay, I watched like a vlogger, and you think, oh yes, what if all the non-vloggers I watched also did vlogs? And I don't think that's like necessarily a good idea, even if it would be better, you know, YouTube-wise, me to be like, let's just follow this trend and that trend or whatever. I think that daily vlogging has like a really negative effect on your life after a certain amount of time, like, because again, you're living your whole life. If it's every single day without fail and every moment of every day, you'd be living your life entirely for these videos, and I think that could cause some really harmful effects eventually. I don't know for certain, but that's how I imagine it would go, and that's how I've seen certain YouTubers go. So I won't be doing the daily vlog thing that you're probably expecting, not only because, you know, that would also, it'd be harmful, I don't want to just jump on it for the sake of it, and also because honestly, I quite enjoy what I do right here. I'd rather, you know, be different and stick out in some way. However, because I do, you know, what I call a vlog, where I, you know, talk to the camera or whatever, what most people just call like a face cam video, I guess, but you know what, how I do one of those videos every now and then now, but I would like to mix it up and also include a vlog every now and then, every couple of weeks or something, because I do a lot of traveling. If you don't know, you know, my goal was to travel like all over Europe, and I did most of that, but even outside of that, like, I've done a lot of traveling the past like couple of years. I visited like 27 countries. Really happy with that. It's what I've been doing over the second channel. It's one of the great things about YouTube that I've been enjoying. Like, I can just do that every couple of days, you know, a couple of days every month, and it's something I really do quite like. But a lot of people are always asking, like, Toycat, why don't you show off this place or that place? And I was speaking with YouTubers, I think it was like breakfast, like a couple of a week ago, sorry, and they were like, you know, it would be really cool to see what you're up to there. And I figure, you know, I'll give it a try. I'm gonna try a travel vlog on this main channel in, like, let's call it, you know, the next month or two. So yeah, do keep your eyes out for it. It's just gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm going to this place. Like, a couple of places I'd like to go at some point soon would be like, oh yeah, I want to go to Bavaria in Germany. You don't know, that's like the part of Germany that's like really German and weird, and like all the weird stuff in Germany's there. I'd also like to go to Israel at some point soon, because like it's super different, even though it still feels the same. You know, there's places like that. Also, like, there's a few European countries I haven't ticked off the list yet, so like Portugal and like Latvia, for instance. There's a few countries like that that I'd love to go to, and it'd be kind of cool to show them off a travel vlog. So it's something I might start doing as like a once a month series, or like a once every couple of weeks series, because a lot of people are just curious, like, so what are you up to in your life, Toycat? And that's something that I might be showing on YouTube. So yeah, I do plan on vlogging sometime soon, but not the daily vlog thing. More of like, oh yeah, I'm here, let's show you a thing. So yeah, it'll kind of coincide with second channel videos too, which I think could be a cool, like, cross promotion thing, maybe. I don't know for certain. But yeah, with that said, let's move on to the second comment, which comes in or the second question, which comes in from Phoenix2769, who says, is PC combat ever a possibility in the future? Hashtag Q&A. And yeah, this Q&A isn't meant to be mostly about updates, but this is something I did learn in the past week, so I figured I'd put out the knowledge I now have into the public. So is PC combat possible in the future? Yes, it's almost a certainty, or at least some brand new combat. However, they're reworking on the PC before they bring it to the console and the Pocket Edition. This is something I asked the 4J guys, and they're like, oh yeah, they want to do more work with it first, and I think this means we'll get some form of like balanced, compromised combat, because right now they don't want to upset the biggest parts of their player base, which is the console and the Pocket Edition, so they're going to rework it first. They're going to try and find a better compromised solution, because, you know, right now people don't hate the combat, they hate the idea of the combat, so they're going to do something different so that you can actually have like something different and fun, which I think is going to be exciting. So let's move on to the third question, shall we, which comes in from the Sniper Boy 123, who says, hashtag QnA Saturday, who do you live with? So you don't have to do hashtags, even on Twitter, it's fine, you really don't have to do it, but who do I live with? I live by myself right now. So honestly, living by yourself is something I think not everyone even experiences in their life, which is something I didn't probably, you know, assume till I got here, but I do quite like it right now, because I'm doing this like YouTube, then go there, then YouTube, then go there, etc. Kind of life where it's like, gotta be busy, gotta be doing stuff all the time. However, I think, you know, living by yourself is something you shouldn't do for your entire life, that like would drive you crazy or something, but I think it's something I would recommend at some point in everyone's life, because living by yourself has so weird, like, honestly, honestly, like, there's so many different things where it's just like, oh yeah, so you don't need to speak to a human for like weeks if you don't want to. I have a friend that's like also living by himself or like with his brother, and his brother just went away for a month, and like, he just figured, you know, I don't have to speak to humans, and like, it was like 2 weeks, and it's like, geez, that sounds crazy to me. But no, I think it's really cool being able to live by yourself for lots of reasons. You can just leave stuff how it is, but also you kind of realize the benefits, and I think, you know, everyone wants to live by themselves at some point, and I'd recommend like you do it, even if it's like for 6 months, even if that's, you know, not really so possible anymore. I would recommend, if you are like, again, wanting to do something like this, that you give it a try, because I feel like there's a lot of downsides and upsides in your head, but they're different to the real downsides and upsides, and it's something I learned. So I figured, just, you know, in case anyone else there is like, you know, about to move out or whatever, then there you go, try it alone, and then realize that you need people, even though people are awful to live with. But, you know, there are some cases where living by yourself can be worse, and there are some cases where living by yourself is the best thing that you don't even realize till you're like, you know what, right now, I could just walk naked across my house for like 3 days if I wanted to. Who's gonna stop me? No one's gonna stop you, but that doesn't mean you should, but you could. Anyway, with that said, let's move to the next question, which comes in from Sup Nerds, who says, what's your biggest fear? And I kind of like interpret this question as like, what's the biggest thing that you fear like on a regular basis? And I have this like constant recurring, like, I guess nightmare, let's call it, that like I'm going blind or something like that. Because, okay, so I wear contact lenses, if you do not know. Magic piece of plastic you put in your eye and you can see stuff. Everyone's probably familiar. And the reason I mention that is because sometimes, like in the mornings, or like sometimes really late at night too, it's like kind of hard to see. You gotta like blink, get some moisture there, because like they harden a little bit. You know, basically my point being is it's like harder to see in the mornings, and like you have to like really try to see something. And yeah, it's really terrifying because I'll have these dreams where like I need to see something, and I can like vaguely know what's happening, but I just can't see it. And I'm like blinking, I'm like, no, nothing's happening. And I think basically what's my biggest fear? Going blind. Going blind would be so bad, and you don't even realize it until you like really think about it, like, oh yeah, so what do you need your eyes for? Oh, I guess making these videos can do that without eyes. Oh yeah, playing video games in general can do that without eyes. Oh yeah, if you want to like someone or love someone, you wouldn't be able to see them, so you're doing it entirely based on what you think they are. And I know there's just so many things when you think about it where it's like, oh god, I think I'd like to keep my eyes. And yeah, that's something where I you know, every now and then I get like ridiculous nightmares about it, where I just like spend hours not being able to see. And it's one of those things where yeah, my biggest fear would be that, and I think that's a pretty reasonable big fear to have. So yeah, that's my biggest fear. Sup Nerds, I hope it answered your question. Let's move on to the next one, shall we, which comes in from pureblood73, who says, do you think there'll be a Minecon 2017? And I don't know if this is private information, so I'll be careful with it, but there will not be a Minecon 2017, I do not believe. Because basically, you know, Minecon was only for like 12,000 people or something, and the tickets were so expensive, and they figured like, oh, if only like 12,000 people who can go to this place and also buy the tickets can go there, it's not the most inclusive thing. So I believe this year they're going to be replacing it with just like a digital event that you can watch live, but that kind of defeats the point to me. So yeah, I might be showing up at a Minecon 2017, but there won't be a Minecon 2017, which makes no sense, but again, that's how it is. And honestly though, that's really depressing to me, because I love going to Minecon because it's an opportunity at least once a year. You know, it'd be better if there was more, but once a year to like actually meet people in the flesh and like see and talk to subscribers and stuff. But that's not something that will happen this year. So you know, I'm probably gonna have to go to some like unofficial Minecraft events. So yeah, no official Minecon 2017, but hopefully some unofficial ones. That's the hope anyway. So let's move into the next question, which comes in from the Froggy Fellow, who says, what's your opinion on tattoos? They're not really my thing. And honestly, tattoos are a really confusing one to me. Like, I genuinely did not understand tattoos until like maybe I was like 19, and I spoke to someone. I was like, you know, you don't need to do that, right? And they were like, oh no, I actually like how tattoos look on other people, and that's why I want one on myself. And it's like, I guess that there must be someone out there who was like this. Like, I genuinely thought before that point that, you know, people just got tattooed because they're like, oh look, I look really cool, I've got like a snake on my arm, or like, you know, this or that. And I guess like to some people that's a thing, but some people actually do like the look of tattoos, and I guess that's why people put them on themselves. Because I mean, honestly, like there are two reasons to get a tattoo, right? Like to look cool, or because you want to like, you know, symbolize something. If you want to symbolize something, you gotta wait like 5 years, because you're putting permanent ink on your skin, so you should probably make sure that you're putting something like you want to have permanently on there. So it's like, okay, so memorializing something like, you know, I miss my Pikachu, let's put a tattoo of him, not a good idea, for instance. So it's got to be like, okay, I'm gonna do it because I want to look kind of cool. And then I just realized, and then you gotta realize like, well, I mean, this is a big investment. Like, it costs at least 3 digits, right? Like 100 something off your local currency, and then you gotta like work out how you're doing it. And then there's trends. Imagine you get the really cool tattoo, and everyone's like, oh, look how cool he years it was tattoo, and then like 2 years later that goes out of date and like different tattoos and stuff. You know, that's just too much stress to deal with in my opinion. That's why tattoos just always seem terrible to me, because like I don't like how they look personally, you know, like on myself or on other people. I don't like the idea of like putting something permanent that then, because you know, humans are not permanent. Have you seen like we destroy towers and we change the world for our thing. Imagine if you couldn't change your body and like you got something on there you didn't like. Imagine if you tattooed like your first girlfriend's name there, and then like your wife has to see that like when you're like 15 years later. Imagine if you like you know, get a tattoo of a Charizard, because you're like, yeah, I'm you know, love Pokemon forever, when you're 16, and then you're like, you know, you're 26 and you're going for a job interview and they're like, why do you have a giant Charizard poking out of your t-shirt or whatever? I'm just saying that's the only reason I've never liked tattoos. I'm not saying like they're a bad idea in general, but I also am kind of saying they're a bad idea in general. But I guess I get them, but not I don't at the same time. Yeah, that's my opinion on tattoos. Glad I could help out by saying lots of non-statements there. So with that said, let's move to the next question, which comes in from TBIWTTB, who says, #Q, you seem to answer more questions from Twitter than from the YouTube comment section. Do you think this is true? I think it is true, because YouTube comments, you know, YouTube comments are YouTube comments. We all know how YouTube comments are. Even if you leave YouTube comments, like, you know, I like the idea of YouTube being a good place and like being stuff like that, but there's just so much terrible stuff in the YouTube comments that it's harder to find the good comments. And also, YouTube comments seem more inclined to ask questions that have only been asked this week. So YouTube has this really big problem lately, and I've mentioned it a bunch of times, so I don't want to go too much through it, but YouTube is not recommending people, you know, like to watch old videos. It's just like, oh yeah, here's your first video in 2 weeks. This is a good one. You'll check this one out. But that means that people haven't watched every single QnA Saturday, so they'll ask a question that's been asked literally last week. Sometimes I see, like, there's a bunch of questions on every QnA Saturday asking questions that have been asked in that week's QnA, and it's like, what am I going to do? Just answer these same questions time and time again? Whereas people on Twitter, you know, they generally, you know, because they're watching the videos they want to watch rather than YouTube wants them to watch, I find they're actually asking questions that haven't been asked, or at least haven't been asked in a really, really long time. And that's why I think Twitter's a little bit, you know, I try to answer YouTube comment section questions too, but you know, it's only so many times I can answer, like, what's your name? When is Jill Wilding coming? Are shields coming in this next update? Oh yeah, no one's asked about shields yet, by the way. Why don't you leave a comment right now asking about shields? That definitely hasn't come up at least 5 times this year, and that, you know, it's kind of frustrating is my point, and that's the reason behind it. So yeah, just in case you're curious, YouTube comments have lots more duplicate questions, and it's harder to find the good comments in there. So let's move to the next question, which is actually from the YouTube comments, and it comes from Christian Larson. He's one of those like guys who like is kind of like famous just from his YouTube comments, and he says, how was Scotland? I heard there was a 4v4. So yeah, Scotland was really good. I enjoyed my time there a lot. I referenced it earlier on, like, oh yeah, we had some breakfast and it was wonderful. But no, it wasn't just about breakfast in Scotland. We did this like challenge versus 4J, where we did like some physical activities, because like there wasn't any minigame or something. It was actually really fun. Like I think we lost in the end, because, you know, like, we play video games. We're not meant for this, like, you know, physical, like, we had to like ride a 4-person bike or something, or like, oh, you know, we're not meant to, you know, go wakeboarding. But no, it was actually a really fun thing. I tried wakeboarding for the first time. I really loved it. Like, it's magical. You get pulled along by a string, and it's wonderful stuff. And also, yeah, just in general, Scotland was really cool to go to. I imagine at some point it will happen again, and it was a really wonderful, fun time. I enjoyed my time in Scotland, and I also enjoyed like meeting a bunch of, like, again, like, I was gonna say like 4J people, but like some of the you know, the 4J staff that are only like recently there, like they're there for a year because they're going to uni. It was just kind of fun, like, speaking to them and being like, oh yeah, so we watched these videos, and I was like, oh yeah, I love this stuff. It was fun. I enjoyed my time there, as long as I'm saying. It's hard to describe it with words in like a minute in a Q&A, but Scotland was a lot of fun, and I wish I'd vlogged it. Yeah, reference to an earlier thing in the video. So with that said, let's move to the next question, which comes in from Tyler S. Hall, who says, will you make a Let's Play on the new Minecraft, the Crossplay version? And the answer to this question is, I mean, probably. I don't know. We're gonna have this really big question when the new version of Minecraft comes out. Should you switch over? Because bear in mind, the moment you switch over, there's no way to switch back. Once you've moved your world from Minecraft Xbox One to the brand new Minecraft, you can't then move it back. So I will probably start some form of world there, try and get the new achievements, or try and get this or that or whatever. However, I'm gonna be really skeptical about making the switch, you know, over, because again, I don't want to be like permanently stuck and then realize like I actually quite like playing these mini games, right? I quite like doing this. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing some videos or not. I'll be doing some Let's Play videos in particular, like, you know, why not start a brand new Let's Play and give it a try? But I don't know for certain like if that's a good idea yet. So what I'll just do is I'll test the waters, and I'll see what you, the community, think at the time, and we'll kind of go from there. I think that's the best way to do it, and that's exactly what I'll be doing. So let's move on to the next question, shall we? The final question, which comes in from Adela, who says, what country do you plan to go to next? This is a classic QnA Saturday question, and yeah, the next country I want to go to that I haven't been to before, because again, I mentioned like Bavaria, but the next country I want to go to that I haven't been to before is probably Israel, actually. So again, you hear Israel and you're like, why there, toy cat? But mostly because I haven't ever been to Asia yet, so technically that counts as, I don't know, it's like in the Middle East, so like it's between Africa and Asia, so we could count either of those continents. But still, first time going to the Middle East, that's kind of like a big deal, right? And of the Middle East countries, I think Israel is both the most like Western, but also still very wacky. Like, you know, they speak Hebrew, I think, or like they write Hebrew, so everything's in these weird, like, again, it's offensive to call them squiggles, but they're in these weird squiggles, right? Then there's also the fact that like everyone's going to be a religion that you just don't see, or at least I haven't seen a large amount of. Like, I've seen like maybe 2 Jews on the tube in London, like total in my life. It'd be cool, like, to be surrounded, like, you know, see how that works. So, you know, because, again, it seems silly, but, like, they're a people group and their religion, and there's just a whole country of them in the Middle East. Like, it's so wacky to me that that's just a thing that exists. But then on top of both those things, because they're in this, like, weird situation where everyone hates them, the security in Israel is so nuts, and I think that would be kind of cool to see. So, I mean, like, security sucks, because, like, they just make you feel bad, but this is, like, one of the places in the world where it's kind of justified. So, yeah, I'd love to go to Israel. I've got a friend that's, like, down to go with me. It's just we got, like, workout time to do it, and yeah, I'll totally vlog if I go, unless the Israel authorities tell me to stop, in which case I'll immediately stop, because that's a thing. So yeah, that's a place I want to go. That sounds really ridiculous, but like, I'd like to go to every country on Earth at some point, and Israel's like a really safe, dangerous one. So that's where I want to go, and that's where you'll see me be in the next, I guess, like, year or so. Like, let's call it the next, like, 3 months, and yeah, I'm kind of excited about that. So with that said, I hope you did enjoy this week's Q&A. You can like it if you did, because it helps out the channel a lot. Let us know you do like these kind of personal ones, where it's just like, here's a bunch of questions about me that the world has wanted to ask. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions for next week, and share the video if you really liked it. Subscribe if you're around here. Hit the bell if you want YouTube to notify you every single time I upload a video. Again, they really, like, if you subscribe normally, it just has like so much less significance, but if you want to bell me, then, you know, hit the little notification bell, then you'll see a notification every time I upload these videos, as well as every single time I stream, so you won't have to miss streams like you might have just done. A stream was just finished, I believe, as this goes up, and yeah, that's something that you might just want, or maybe it's not, but yeah, bell me, it's a good idea, or don't, it's your choice. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!